How are you doing, man?
Doing really good. Quite tired, but ready to go.
How many days have you been on tour so far?
I think it's 13 at this point.
Jesus Christ, 13 gigs of sex, drugs, rock and roll. No, I'm just joking. You're just getting drunk, I guess.
It's just alcoholism and screaming. That's it.
And lack of sleep. Massive lack of sleep. We released the last album as kind of like a spark to start a new wave of Black Tongue, a new era of Black Tongue. But at the time, obviously, we took quite a big hiatus. We basically had to sort of regroup and just discuss where we wanted to take the band, how we wanted to proceed with, i.e. touring and releasing albums and such. So Nadir itself, the album, was kind of just like a benchmark of like, well, here we are now, and then we're gonna see where we go from here.
This is everything that we've like built up towards. Like this is the Black Tongue, you know, been working towards. Here it is. We're back. That's basically it.
You had a massive amount of success pretty quickly, as a matter of fact.
It was really quickly. We can never lie and say that it had nothing to do with Eddie and Aaron being in Infinite Annihilator, because obviously their success was just massive as well.
Yeah.
But when we started Black Tongue, it doesn't really sound anything like Infinite Annihilator at all. So
I think initially how most bands will start is it is just some fun, some friends getting together and if they play instruments and starting a band. The actual band itself started with Alex and Aaron just writing a joke song, a really stupid heavy song from inspirations of downtempo bands at the time that really got quite unsung for their era as well, you know.
Still are.
Like Early Sworn In, Fane, bands like that. And the Overthrow, where they created this sound. And me being a little greedy goblin, I was like, oh, let me be in a band with you and we'll make it into a band and that. So yeah, the song HCHC was actually written initially by those two, and then we built the whole sound from that. Yeah. But as just a means to hang out, really.
Yeah, because we'd all wanted to, since Eddie and Aaron's success with Infinite Annihilator, everyone who's in Black Tongue now we're all hanging out together at the HQ, just Aaron's house. All hanging out all the time, you know, watching that kick off, but also just eating loads of pizza and playing loads of Halo and listening to metal. And was like, look,
wasting time.
Yeah, and was like, well, why don't we all be in a band together? And was like, well, what should we do? And they like a few people had like some backup songs, like stuff that was going to go into like Mr. Sister and stuff. I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll do that. And then just serendipitously, we wrote that song. Eddie, being the genius that he is, hears it and goes, right, I can basically start an entire genre with this. And then we got Foehammer released Foehammer, and it just we had no idea.
Of course, like Alex said, the fact that we were already in a successful band with quite a good social media presence helped Black Tongue sort of get some limelight, get some spotlight, and but quite quickly after we developed some sort of steam, some sort of movement, we developed our own fan base, and by the time we released our second EP, Born Hanged, there was already a fan base for Black Tongue specifically. But yeah, that then obviously from there, it's just, you know, it's kind of like having that friend in the industry. That was Infinite Annihilator. It was here you go, here's some power, here's some publicity, and as soon as that's there, you know, anyone can sort of get a piece of that and get into it. So
how did you do the songwriting? I was always kind of watching out for somebody who's just going to take it down a notch or two or 20 notches, you know.
I think bands, they try and take it down all the time, and there's always that down tuning war of like, oh, we're going to go lower in this album and lower in this album. It's always been there from like the late 80s. Bands were like, oh, we'll tune down and tune down.
But it doesn't have the same kind of dynamic there, right?
Of course not. So like I was saying with the inspirations for it, I can't really speak true to it because, like I said, Alex and Aaron created the sound themselves. From bands like Overthrow and Fane and just general downtempo that was on at the time, but was very underground. We basically I evaluated the song that they wrote, and I was like, basically all we need to do is tune the guitars down a ridiculous amount, but to the point where they're still audible, you can still get a good sort of clean riff out of it, and there's power there, but also the tempo, bring that down, and not just make it heavy, but have some quality in there, have some songwriting, have some structure. But I feel like with me and Alex being sort of the chief ideas people in the band, he'll generally say, I really want to do something like this, and he'll show me a band, he'll be like, oh, that's kind of black metal, or that's kind of experimental, and then we'll put some of that in it, and then
that's where it changes after the first two EPs that you mentioned. So originally we started, and we're just like we like what we're doing. We like making heavy music. Nobody's really making like the heavy in the UK or Europe at the time. It was like a more of an American thing. I think that's what got us kicked off.
Right.
And then when we experienced the success that we did, and then we had the opportunity to really craft, you know, the album that we wanted to make. Like, but by this time, me and Eddie had got a lot closer. We're sharing a lot of ideas outside of music. We had these like big ideas in our heads. So I feed my ideas into the fucking creative genius engine that is Eddie. My big nebulous sort of nonsense ideas, and they kind of condense in his brain, and he knocks them out into these incredible soundscapes.
Alex is a really good listener. Like, he has a very, very wide spectrum of bands he'll listen to, and he's always on the button with just everything. Like, he'll always bring a band to the table I've never even heard before, but as soon as he plays me a song, it's amazing. So like he said, he'll come to me with like, oh, this would be a good sound, or this would be a good idea, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard that before, let me work on it, let me use it here, use it there, amalgamate it into our existing sound. And then what I'll do is I'll take that to Aaron, he'll refine that even further with, you know, he's got a really good ear for things that just sound right, you know, when sometimes I'll write a riff or something and it'll be like, oh, that note could change or something, and it'll change it, and then that's it, then it's solid. And then when Alex comes back in, he comes with all these lyrics that he's written a big delicious story, a massive, a full visual scape, like a big novel style lyric story, and every time I read it and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so heavy. But like emotionally heavy as well as actually
heavy in every sense of the word.
And then now I feel like after the Unconquerable Dark and Nadir, like that's we've sort of defined our sound now, and we can really sort of like drift into that sort of strange, really depressing spectrum of metal.
Yeah, it's nightmare music.
You have changed dramatically also the production sound from the beginning. Well, I mean, everybody does that over the course of the years. Obviously, you're going to refine your stuff and get new influences and all of that. What was the idea behind the sound that you have right now? Because it doesn't sound like completely different, 180 degrees away from the stuff you did before, but significantly different, so that it sounds almost like a completely different band.
I think the main thing to understand there is it's because Aaron and to an extent Eddie has produced every album we've ever done.
Yeah.
So what you're hearing as well is essentially them both increasing in their skill at production themselves.
That's absolutely correct. With respect to your question, the only actual solid idea, solid plan we had for the production was we wanted it to be raw, and we want it to be absolutely epic in sound, like massively, like, you know, like vast in it's just rich,
big scope.
Yeah, just massive scope, big terrifying soundscapes. Not just like a heavy hard hitting album that's really punchy, but like something that you could, like, you know, imagine being played in like a hollowed out mountain or something.
Yeah,
you know, just big in its sound. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, see, we don't just...
You want to have it huge.
Yeah, just huge, yeah.
Because we love heavy, obviously we love heavy, or we wouldn't be doing what we're doing, but
Grand.
we also love heavy plus, and that plus is a lot of other things. It's a lot of scary stuff, and it's a lot of like artistic stuff, it's a lot of depressing stuff and soundscapey stuff, and I'm not doing it justice. We like heavy, but there is so much more that we want to make heavy. Like, we don't want heavy to just be, oh yeah, it's some BDs, you're like, oh, that's sick, yeah.
Right.
I'll like throw my fist around a little bit. No, we want you to feel it, like in your, like in your fucking core. Yeah, you want to feel the horror of it, yeah. The ecstatic truth of fucking...
To a degree, I don't even think we've achieved that fully yet. I think we're always just edging closer and closer to the goal of it being absolutely nightmarish. I'm a big believer in, if you're going to release an album or release anything that will be in the public eye forever, which it will be nowadays because of the internet, it has to be as the best it can possibly be, because it will be there forever and it'll have your name on it. So when we do the albums, the production and the writing on it and the embellishments of samples and things are just ever, you know, there's just so much of it, all encompassing. And then live, we have a different perspective where we try to recreate that as best as possible, but as raw and as powerful as possible. We actually had a good quote today from an interview. Oh, it wasn't an interview, it was a review. That it was just like, it was an intense performance purely because we had no backdrop, we had no props, we had, you know, there was no special lighting or anything like that. It was just four guys on the stage just playing some heavy metal and just, you know,
still managing for it to sound like
just that raw element of it.
And in addition to what you said as well, I've said it before and I'll definitely say it again, that if you release an album and it's not your own favourite album, you fucked it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the amount of work you have to put in something like that is also ridiculous. It has been much more easier to write the old stuff, I assume.
It did happen a lot quicker, yeah. But then, like we said, when Alex started getting more and more ideas of the sound he wanted to chase, then research comes in play, trial and error. You know, there's sometimes we'll write a song and I'm just really not happy with it for the entire process.
Months and months.
And then these guys are like, no, it is good, and then we'll refine that down again months later, and then it'll become a song. So it's a lot more grueling as a process too.
Yeah. But it's more rewarding. I'd rather be doing that than just knocking out, you know, like heavy fucking albums that are just like one dimensional. You know, like we spent over 3 years writing Nadir, and I'd spend another 3 years writing the next one as well, because you can hear how long it took and you can hear all the effort we put into it.
Do you get a lot of feedback from the fans?
We do, yeah. And it was mind-blowing and like heartwarming, considering how long we'd been sort of on hiatus and how many people thought we'd broken up when we released it, to hear what people had to say. Like, I won't repeat too much of it because it just sounds like I'm sucking my own dick, but people say like, oh, you know, album of the year, or you know, like, I can't believe how much this band has progressed into what they've done, and it's like people actually heard what we were trying to do, you know, like, so they were like, oh yeah.
On the whole, it's just that people actually got what we were trying to do.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah.
Rather than just be, oh, this is really heavy and cool. Like, it was like, oh, I understand this. I appreciate this for what it is.
This is like crushing. It was like,
because we are artists. First and foremost,
yeah, exactly.
Real creative. So like when we have a vision for something, and then it's received well but received wrongly, that's not fulfilling for us.
Yeah.
We want it to be like, oh my god, that's such a really clever way of using this, you know, sound.
I think my favorite thing to hear on YouTube, or to read on YouTube comments, which lets me know that I've done my job right, is when they'll have a quote, a line, or they'll say this bit that's like, when this bit builds up in the song, like, I could feel myself almost start to cry and I don't know why. That's what I was fucking going for. Just like that sort of like nameless dread, because I'm like, that's what I feel about loads of stuff, so I want fucking you to feel it as well through my art.
Evoking emotion is a big like goal for us in our fans. Like, if you can listen to an album and really feel something to it, especially with it being metal, which is generally just a live art form for me. Like, if you see metal live, it's better than it is on a record. If you can listen to an album of ours and we evoke an emotion from you, then that's a really fucking good thing for me.
That's really rewarding.
I mean, talking metal fans are usually completely conservative. You know, they want to have like their riffs that they already know and all of that stuff, and you kind of go too experimental or too progressive. There is a tendency there to kind of lose people along the way. You know.
Yeah. We never cared, have we?
Yeah. It's just really hard, and any band will say this. You don't want to stagnate. You don't want to write the same album again,
right?
Or write the same album again with a few tweaks. You want to keep your sound as best you can, but branch into whatever you're into at the time, and whatever, you know, like I say, whatever goals you've got to achieve as an artist. But like you said, it's really hard to do that and then keep your fans and make new fans without losing a big chunk of your fan base.
I think we cracked it with Nadir, didn't we?
I think so.
And it'll be hard to do it again, but like, we will do it again. It's just gonna take some time.
Extra time means that you're gonna need maybe double the amount of time to write like new stuff. It kind of has to be like more, bigger, richer.
I don't know. I don't think it'll take as long as it took us with Nadir, because there was a lot of other stuff going on there as well.
It was like a good year and a half of just being really like bogged down in our own personal lives before we actually started knuckling down with some new music. So yeah, I think it'll probably at maximum be 2 years, but I wouldn't even look that far. Yeah.
can already see Eddie's got some, and I've already got some of these big sort of nebulous ideas. Like I feel like we feel where it's going rather than hearing it.
Few beers and then we start talking some chaff.
Yeah, start getting up the ladder in the fucking library, reading all the fucking scrolls and that, talking shit.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you very much. How long is the tour going to go? Like 6 gigs or what?
5 more after today. 5 more, yeah.
The video is not going to be released until then, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Yeah, all right. Well, but I'm going to leave the links down below so that people can follow you. And Black Tongue, kick ass.